don't think it's on. It looks like there, and I didn't see no lights working. I mean, I could probably talk loud enough, but, no, it's power on to it.
We got the expert back here.
Anybody under 15?
Well, is it on? I can't tell up here whether it's on. I don't think it's on.
Yeah, it's on.
Look on the left-hand side of the keyboard there, there's a switch there that turns
We can hear you now.
sound system on. And it could find it.
That's his, listen here. See if it's on.
I don't think it's on.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I caught the echo that time. Well, what I got to say tonight is not gonna be very long, and maybe it'll be short and sweet, and we can get away. And, I don't know what I was thinking when I thought about what to talk about tonight, because on Sunday night, you usually have the cream of the crop, I guess you could say, of people in attendance, and basically tonight it's gonna be on people who need to look at their lives a little bit, and, consider their dedication to the church. But anyway, we'll go through it and see if we make some points here that you may not have thought about before in your lives. I know I did. Let me find a place where I want to be. Start off with 13th chapter of Matthew, verses 44, 45, and 46. Very popular. Well. Okay, I found it. If you look, you don't necessarily have to turn back to the passage, but if you stop and think a little bit about what Matthew 6:33 says, it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." If you read a few verses above that, it will say, it will talk about the things that God will provide for you because you're his children. And we don't have to worry about things. We don't have to be concerned about our daily livelihood if we live in a Christian life. And I firmly believe that. I mean, I'm not going to say we're going to have everything we want. I'm not going to say we're going to eat the best food. But basically, God has said that he'll take care of us. And we know he will as far as food and clothing is concerned. So that's going to be sort of the spin-off point of our lesson for tonight. Seeking the kingdom of God first and all his righteousness. Now, if you have Matthew 13, 44, 45, and 46, well, I still didn't find it. And this is a couple parables here. And it says, "Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hid in the field, the which when a man hath found, he hid it, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking godly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl at a great price, went and sold all that he had, and bought it." Now, the treasure here is a representation of heaven. And it indicates here that these two people thought a whole lot of going to heaven or having this great treasure above anything else. That we have to be aware, and let me find a place here again. Okay, it also indicates that they were willing to give all they had to get these particular treasures. And we need to ask ourselves today, how much are we willing to give to obtain heaven? And I think we need to think about that a little bit as Christians, because, folks, you know, that's the great treasure. Heaven is what we're looking forward to. That's what we're working forward to. So what are we willing to give up in our life today? Just as those two people there, they gave up what they had because they found a treasure that was so much more valuable. We realize today that we have all those things. God has promised all those things that we need to live. We don't have to worry about. Now, I'm not saying we don't have to work and earn it and be aware of doing those things that will earn a living for us, for our families. But God will provide, and He has said He would, the things that we must have, that we have to have for our livelihood. You know, even from the beginning of time, God took care of His children. Even in the Garden of Eden, if you think about it, God had furnished everything that man wanted. Food I'm talking about there, and also a place to live, but mostly the food supply was there. They could take of all the fruit and anything in the Garden of Eden except that one particular thing. Also, we learned in Genesis that when they did sin and God brought it to their attention, they found themselves naked, and what did God do? He made clothing out of skins of animals, and He clothed them. So God provides for us even today, just as He did Adam and Eve back in those days. But we need to think as individuals today, as members of the body of Christ, what are we willing to give up for the cause of Christ, for the kingdom? And I firmly believe that we have to give up some things and give up and do things that we should do that would take time and effort that we don't do. Just think a little bit about the time when we need to be working for a kingdom. Have we ever stopped and examined the amount of time we could have available if we limited our personal things that are required for our pleasure here upon this earth? I said a mouthful there, didn't I? But basically, our time, a lot of our time is spent on ourselves doing things that we like to do. We don't have any reason to have to go here and go yonder, and we just have a lot of available time. Just think about the sports activities. We got people in this congregation that is away today on a sporting event. I'm not going to say they're not in a worship service somewhere, but they're not with us. We've got people tonight that is normally here on Sunday morning, but they're not here on Sunday night. So where are they spending this time? Are they giving up anything? So we have to ask ourselves that as Christians today. How much time do we spend on things like our hobbies? How much time do we spend on things like sports? These are just something that we as individuals have created that we must do, that we think we have to do, but we really don't have to do, and we spend a lot of time on them. As Christians, in today's lifestyle, and another idea that we have is how much time do we spend on our jobs? You know, there are some people, and I think my wife will agree with me a little bit on this. I'm sort of a workaholic. I spend a lot more time probably than I should on business. And I use the explanation, well, if I'm not there to do it, it won't get done. And there are times that I should be here in this building with my fellow Christians, but I'm away and on a job somewhere working. And that's something that I know I have to come in to realize, and there are many, many times that as I'm traveling down the road, my mind starts thinking about these kind of things, and I feel very guilty about it, of not taking the time away from my job to be here when it's not necessary. So, do we miss a lot of work for the church because we spend too much time on other things and what we do, what we don't do, and how we react to the time that we have available for us to be working in the church today. I've done a little figuring, a little calculating, and I know you've probably heard this before, on time that we have available to us. If I got my fingers right on the add machine and multiplied it right, we got 168 hours in a 7-day period of time a week. Most congregations have 4 hours a week, 2 on Sunday, 3 on Sunday, 1 on Wednesday for the worship service. If you run that out into percentages, that's about 2% of our time that is taken up in worshiping God and thinking about our souls and paying honor unto God. 2% of our time. We have about 45 hours a week, and I put a little extra time in that. Most jobs are 40 hours a week. Some of us might work a little longer, but 45 hours a week will be spent working our jobs. We could run that out, that's 26% of the total time of the week. 4 hours, I've estimated, would be going to and from your place of employment. Sometimes that's good. I mean, sometimes some of us have to do that. Of course, I'd have to say about 30 minutes for Gail, because she lives right across the road from where she works at. So, but anyway, we're not all lucky, Gail, like you are. But that's 2% of your time you spend traveling to and from your job. If you get 8 hours of sleep a week, that's 56 hours, and that's 33% of your time that you have. Now, that is a time factor. Now, I know you have to, moms and dads and whoever has to spend time cooking meals and getting ready for school for the children and all this kind of stuff. But if you add all of those up, which I didn't do, so I'm going to add them up sort of fast right here. That's about 60 some odd hours that we have making a living out of 168 hours. No, that wasn't right. That's more than that. 35, 61, 60, 63%, I'm sorry, of our time is spent to make a living. The rest of it is time that we have to ourselves. Now, what do we do with it? spend time that going and visiting people? How many of us spend time, in the benevolence programs? How many of us spend time, going to the little program we got, going to the nursing home and having a little song service and a devotion for those residents at the nursing home? We all, I think if we look at it and think about it, we all realize that we have a lot of time that we waste. And that we could be doing things more efficient, and we could be doing things to ensure us of the treasure that we were looking forward to, which is in heaven. We have a living, people. I mean, God has promised us that He'll take care of us, and for it is our livelihood. But how many of us really and truly believe that? How many of us really and truly believe that we don't have to sit and worry about what we're going to eat and what we're going to wear? We worry about it. We think about it. Unfortunately, the last 2 meals I've eaten, I think it's 2, I pushed my plate back because the food was terrible. I ain't talking about Diane's cooking now. we went out to eat 2 times that I'd have been better off if I'd have eaten a bologna sandwich at the house. So, you see, we do all these things, and I guess I'm the most guilty, I guess, of wasting time when it comes to when I have free time. But we need to start understanding that we have to look and we have to get rid of all those things that's not necessary and strive for that great treasure which is heaven. I don't think God's going to be pleased with just being in attendance a couple times a week. I don't think He will be. Now, I'm not talking about people who are physically unable to get up and go and come and that has problems like that, or has problems that beyond their control that hinder them. But I don't think God's going to be happy. I don't think He's satisfied with just us walking through the back door and sitting down, praising and Him for a couple of hours, 3 hours a week, and then going home and never doing nothing else. Folks, I just don't think God will accept that, because He has told us too many times, and He's mentioned it too many times in His Word, that we have to work, and work. You know, He said, work out your own salvation. That means do something. And I don't think God is going to be satisfied if we don't spend time, if we don't get rid of some of this wasted time that we have and do those things that God wants us to do. And it's so much work out there that we could do. So much that we as individuals can do. You know, I was totally amazed. I don't know if you noticed it this morning on TV. I believe it was Rome, Georgia. Teenagers. What most of us in here would call children. They decided that they were going to build a shelter for the homeless. Now we're talking children. They built one of these little mini houses, mini structures that you see looking at and around, and donated it to a disabled, a homeless veteran and his wife. Now, they didn't do the whole thing. The parents kicked in after the children had done a lot of the work and everything, and got it finished so these people would have a full-blown place to live. But have we ever thought we can do anything like that? Have we ever put our mind to what we can do and the work that we could accomplish by getting together and doing things in benevolence and things of that nature? Now, these children just did it, and they got recognition on television and wherever, and everybody thought that was a great deal. It was a great deal. But just think how much it would benefit the church if the church got into doing things like that. And how much would it benefit us as individuals? When we get involved in programs that will help people and let them know that we're working to try to get the great treasure, which to us as Christians is heaven. I think sometimes that we as Christians, when we really start understanding and believing and realizing that heaven is that great treasure, and what we do here on earth and what we accomplish here on earth in the secular end of our lives is not worth anything if we don't gain that great treasure, if we don't make time for it, if we don't put that in our lives where we can work and let God know that we are working toward that great treasure. Give up something. Let me ask you a question. What did you have to give up tonight? I mean, I know everybody here, and just like I say, this is not the night to be talking about this particular thing, because we're here tonight, and y'all are here tonight, and it's sort of a cream of the crop. But just stop to think. What do I have to give up not to be able to attend worship service? Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. What do I have to give up? Can anybody think of anything? I don't think we as Christians have to give up anything except maybe watching TV. I don't know about y'all, but it's not a whole lot going on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. But yet still, there's times that I come into the building on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, and I look around, and George and maybe Shad will be here, and we say, we're going to get enough people to have service this morning because nobody's here. And then all of a sudden, 5 minutes before worship service, everybody kind of starts pouring in. They're not here for classes. What do they give up? A little extra nap to get up? See, we need to, and when we start realizing this is all affecting our getting possession of that great treasure, is how we conduct our lives and how we live our lives and the attitudes that we have when it comes to facing and doing those things that we need to be doing as Christians, finding time to do things. You know, I'm totally amazed. I don't know if you ever talked to Sean very much about some of the things he's got involved. Talk to him sometime. I don't see how the man gets everything done he's got going on. And most of everything he's got going on is related to Christian living. And it amazes me. At all the programs he's in, all of the things that he's involved in outside of this building. That man don't just preach 2 sermons a week. I mean, he has got a schedule full. And I find it amazing that he can do that and keep going. But that's what we're going to have to do as Christians. we're going to look at ways that we can find time and ways and get our attitude, the fact that we want that great treasure. And we'll do what we got to do to get it. We'll give up what we got to give up to be able to do the things and to work in the kingdom of God. So tonight I'd like for you to think about this a little bit, and I know, like I say, most of us here tonight are finding time to do things, but I think we here tonight can even find time, more time, to work in the kingdom than we're extending at the present time. So if there's anyone here tonight who has looked at their lives and say, I need to change, be willing to change. Don't do like I've done so many times. Feel guilty about it for a little while, and first thing you know, my conscience sort of gets seared over, and I sort of forget about it. Do something about it. Make up your mind that we're going to do those things. We're going to put the time we need. We're going to give the Lord His dues, and let God know that we're looking and trying